You weren't the foundation beneath my hardwood floors or the roof that sheltered me from the heavy rainstorms. You weren't the bed I slept in after a long day of work or the bathtub where I would wash my worries away. You weren't the window from which sunlight seeped in or the hinges of the doors that welcomed me in, but you would always be what I could call home.
It's a weird feeling to be leaving your childhood home for the very first time. The default answer I feel when someone asks me where my home is, I think of where I grew up in, the place where I most identify with. Everyone has their own story to tell. Everyone comes to different conclusions of what their life stories mean and what they learn from it. So I guess this is a story of three people digging deep, thinking about what home means to them.
I was really excited to come to London. Like, I worked really hard for this opportunity to fly to London to go to King's College. Like, I worked so hard in the last 2 years.
Starting life in the UK was actually really hard at first. I was always missing my family and I didn't know of any other Bruneians in Leicester. I can say I was pretty sheltered as a kid. I didn't go out as much as now. I literally just go out every day on my own and without my parents checking up on me like every single hour of the day. So like there's a lot more freedom now, but at the same time you also miss home. But yeah, I guess it's part of growing up. You just have to be on your own.
So when I left home for the very first time, like imagine a bird who is trying to fly for the very first time.
I left to travel. It was a mix of emotions, I guess. Like it was daunting. It was, I guess, scary, but it was exciting, and I knew I wanted to do it. I just felt like I need to explore more of the world and see what it has to offer, and what it offer me and offer everyone else. And so I saw it as like the opening of a chapter in my life.
I expected it to be different, but I just didn't realize how drastic everything is and how it's like a roller coaster, and I still haven't really landed on solid ground and it's still moving too fast for me. So when I did get here, I thought that I would feel comfortable at one point or another because, you're supposed to feel at ease wherever you are, but I still haven't feel comfortable in London. Like, I'm still struggling to really be at peace with what I do and where I am and how distant I am from everyone else and everything else at home.
So is there a place in the world that I can call home? Um, as of right now, I have to say no. I don't really have a place I can call home.
I don't think my home exists as of yet. Like for me, like my home would be not a place. The closest thing I would see as home would be my sister, because we kind of have the same view of home, because we lived in the same home and we kind of went through the same things, and we left as well and went on our journeys, and so our ideas of home are very similar. And I don't know, like just the fact that like she understands what that really means. She understands what my idea of home is. In a way, it kind of means that she's the closest thing to it.
Do I feel homesick? Yeah, there's not an instance when I don't feel homesick. That's the problem because I'm very close to my brothers and I'm very close to my parents, and even back in Brunei, I don't go out a lot because I love spending time with my family. They're the most important thing in the world to me. And it's a very cliche thing to say, but for my kids, it's true. Like, every morning, wherever I go, whatever I do, I love doing it with my family because I love them to bits.
My first place of living was in Odby, and that's like really far away from everyone else. So it was only during our first meeting that I actually knew of other Bruneians living here. As I get more and more closer to the people that I met here, I feel like they make me somewhat feel at home. Because there are people in the same boat as me, and I feel more connected and related to them in a way. So that really made things easier.
I learned to cope with the distance. I learned how to live with 5 other girls from different parts of the world, and I learned to be independent because before this I was clueless. Like, I'm not street smart. Like, I have no idea how to navigate my way. But ever since I have to live independently in London, like I really have to pick myself up and see the world in a completely different way, which I may not like, but I have to live with.
I left to travel Europe solo. I slept on people's sofas. I walked hundreds of kilometers and just talked to all like randomest of people, like people who are the most misunderstood, and some of the people who you feel you know but you don't really know them. And I learned so many things from all over the world, like about the world itself, about different cultures everywhere, and about the people themselves.
Despite being away from Brunei and my family, my housemates and friends made living here a lot more comfortable. In a way that it doesn't feel any different from how it feels back home.
I've always been attached to my home and my family and everything because I'm a very homey person. I have accepted the fact that I'm attached to my family. I'm attached to my place of upbringing, my extended family, and all those things that you grew up with. And I realized like I can't really let it go as easily as other people can.
So I guess home is where I feel comfortable being myself, surrounded by people who love and accept me for me. It is where I find a sense of belonging among the people that I really enjoy being with, be it either family or friends.
I'm very close to my brothers and I'm very close to my parents. I love spending time with my family. They're the most important thing in the world to me. And it's a very cliche thing to say, but for my case, it's true. Like every morning, wherever I go, whatever I do, I love doing it with my family because I love them to bits.
I went on this wild goose chase to find a place where I can be myself and, call my own, but it was impossible to do that because I guess I was still unsure of what being myself meant. Like being homeless for 2 years really taught me that the location I am, wherever I am, here, there, it should not influence who I am. In fact, I should actually be the person who influenced my surrounding. I should change the place I am to be more like home. So in that sense, home is wherever I am, anywhere I can be.
Whereas for me, I know that my happiness is where I grew up and that is where I have to be happy. I want to go home. I can't wait to go home.
So for me, home isn't a place, it's more of a feeling.